Testing, testing, testing. Make sure you guys can hear me. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear me okay. I'm starting right now. So how's everybody? You guys had a great weekend. It was a long weekend for me. I am out of Canada, and it was our Thanksgiving weekend. And between my family's dinner, my wife's dinner, and then the company that we had over, I got about 3 massive dinners that I need to now go to the gym all week long and work off. Lots of turkey, lots of the fixings, so it was good. I am ready to get back in the markets here, though, finally. The long weekends are nice, they're relaxing, but I don't know about you guys. It always makes me even more eager to get back at it because of the day off. So, anyway, with that being said, let's walk through the markets here quickly. Hope you guys all did this. Subscribe to my YouTube channel while you're waiting. Right down here, just click on the note, the little button right down here. And on top of that, go ahead and subscribe to my Twitter feed as well too, and Instagram if you've got some time, because I do post lots of charts and lots of stuff from time to time, so you can check that out. And if you're really brave, go ahead and go to f45trading.com, and you might find something in there that you like. We do a lot of good stuff. So if you need any help trading or any ideas or comments, questions, concerns, just hit me up. Let me know what's happening. So anyway, let's get fired away into the markets here. We got a chart of the US dollar index here, and a bit of an interesting week that we're finding ourselves in so far. Really, it just sideways consolidation. We had a nice big bold up candle here last Wednesday. Thursday, Friday's trading took us back down, and then Monday's trading, again, Canadian markets were closed, but that doesn't mean the Forex market stopped. US dollar was trading nicely, and it basically put in a high that couldn't get above these old previous highs from last week, and it sunk down just a little bit more than 50%. And now we're just kind of sitting there. So I find that very, very interesting price action. I would have liked to see this candle, but with the wick extended downward and sweep out those lows and then reject. And then we got a nice big bold candle up here. Only reason for that, I don't like that. So what my thoughts are here going forward is that we'll probably end up seeing price run up to this 9,600 level, 96 big figure basically on the dollar. And we just came out of a nice little bearish action, only for price to go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight days, consecutive straight days up, rip out these old highs. I want to see continuation, but when I see something like this happens, it kind of makes me believe that they may want to cool the jets a little bit here before they run up, and this will be good too. So let me finish here. This will be good, but if they do decide to have this as the interim high, so they came in, they scooped all the highs in here, grabbed those areas, been talking about that for a while, they finally did it here last week. So if they come up here Monday today, and then they start smashing this thing down, let's say, for example, I'd like to see if they have the strength to come down and rebalance at the 93, 90 to basically the 9,400 level. I don't believe they'll get down under here anymore. Not off this movement here. I believe they had the opportunity to take out this 93.15 level, these two equal lows under here. They had the opportunity, and they didn't take it, and I think that's done now. So I believe, and then they spent 1, 2, 3 days down there convincingly. So, and then they could have done it again right here, and that was your basically explosion of the upside, explosive candle, and right in here, this big green up candle, and then away we went. So what this leads me to believe is like I say, this candle right here that I put in Monday, if we don't see any action on Tuesday here, trading to try and retake out these highs again, I think what they could do is come back along here. And you see I got a couple of X's underneath here. There's stops all the way under there, and then ultimately a rebalancing act at 93.90. So what if they did that, though? I think that would lend to a fairly hefty bullish move to the upside if they came all the way back down. They may not get all the way down to here. Here, let me just make this a nice even number for you guys, because I don't like that number very much. There, I kind of like that number a little bit better. So let's just call it 94, just to kind of work with even numbers here. So if they came all the way back down here and took out these this old consolidation again and retagged off of that, I wouldn't be looking for price to go any lower. I would be, however, looking for them to rebalance and then run higher. And if they did do that, that would be, I think, a telltale sign that they're not just going to go and just briefly take out these highs and run up to the 96. I think that means that they're going to make a big push higher and get up a bit above this high here. And ultimately, I mean, there's a lot of action on the upside here where they could want to take price. So that could be the target for the rest of the year. Now, we want to spend a lot of time, and we obviously want to go through these the U.S. dollar index, because it's the king. It's the one that all the major currency pairs follow. So we got to understand where this thing is directionally biased, where the directional bias is heading. So that's why I say if we just kind of peter in here and we get price run up to 96, great. You know, I called it. I knew it was going to happen. But then we could see a pretty big dip in price happen after that. I'd like to see them get it out of the way now, come back down, recapitalize some of these long positions in here, take everybody who was right in here and who's going long, take them out of the market, grab up their stops, take their long positions, and then have them bounce off the 94. I don't want to see them go much lower than the 9400 level, and then really make a big push to get long and to get above this high here. So a couple of things. If you take a fib, for instance, off of a low to a high, again, right at that 72-79% retracement level, the 94 is right in between there. So we'll just say, you know, somewhere in the middle of that, just for argument's sake. I think would be a good area for a reversal. So nice little confluence there. Again, them running the highs here and not having much of a willingness to continue to run those highs, I'm kind of thinking it's a little bit suspect. So I think they may want to cool their jets a little bit, come back down and scoop some of these longs out of the market, and then move higher. So that's kind of what my thoughts are. So if we move forward, we can easily get some setups based off of those. Now, what I would permit is if they came in here, because so far they're starting off, this is Tuesday's trading, so far they're starting off price action fairly bullish today. If we do see one more push higher, I would handle that. I would believe that trade idea would still be valid, but we'd need to see some rejection on this candle. So we saw the rejection on Monday. If they want to go up and they want to start getting higher than the Monday's candle, then we may not get that deep retrace lower. So basically Tuesday's candle here today, that'll pretty much tell us, you know, where they're going to push price for the next for the rest of this week. And my thoughts are that I think they're probably going to come down and they're going to soak up some of this area down here. So the only thing that would negate that, obviously, if we saw price come in and start to take out the high here on this Monday's candle, if we start to see that, then my thoughts are that they're probably just going to continue this thing higher, and then we won't come back and retrace at all. So we got to make sure we're on both sides of the market and be prepared for either one, either scenario. So I'll just drop down to an hourly here just real quick. You can see sort of the levels under here that I'm waiting for them to come down and scoop price up. There's that 72 to 79% retracement level that I was talking about. Somewhere in there we could see a reversal. And look how they set this up today as well too, from last Friday going into Monday's trading. So this was Monday's trading. This was last Friday and last Thursday. See these relatively equal lows right here as well too. My kind of thoughts are on that they could be going to go down and sweep in those guys out there. So further quickly here. So I would be surprised if we do see a push up on Tuesday. I kind of wouldn't want to see it go much higher than 96.60. That's it on the high side. So if we see price push up to 96.60, if it breaks 96.60, the idea of this thing going lower is going to get less and less of a chance, probability of that happening. So keep an eye on that level. We could see price just start to roll over here pretty soon. We're in London Open now, so anytime in the next few hours we could see that price start to dip through. So, okay. if that is enough analysis on the US dollar, I'm going to move on. I don't want to keep you guys for very much longer. I'm going to just kind of whip through a couple of Forex pairs, give you my thoughts, talk about crude real quickly, copper, and a Bitcoin, and away we go. So now, again, if we do see a retracement on the US dollar, this idea here that I was setting up was basically, as you can see here, they came through. They had a couple equal highs up here at 118, 50, call it. Failed to get up there. They basically just came and took out the old highs from this small consolidation level in here and dropped the euro, and dropped it quite quickly too. Actually, it only took about a week for them to trade it down about 300 pips. So nice movement. And now we're kind of stalling right in here. So I'd kind of, again, same sort of thing on trading on Monday. Price came down, just swept the lows from last week, and rejected quite a bit. So now I'm going to be watching to see what they're going to do here. Again, if we see that run down on the dollar, then we should see an equal retracement on the euro. If we take that same Fibonacci level from low to high, and we look at that, that 79% retracement level comes right back into an area where I would sort of expect some kind of a reversal at 117.20 on the high side. So we could see price one to get all the way up into there. Now on the low side, right about this 50% level, keep an eye on price there as well too. We may only get a shorter retrace on this, especially if this price is heavy and they really want to start dropping this thing. They may not come all the way up to the 17.20 level. They could want to reverse it around the 16, or 116, 30, 116.40 level. So just bear that in mind. But I like this little pause in price. I'd like to see them run this thing up, only for them to come back down and smash this thing lower. And ultimately, again, we are looking for these lows down in here to get swept. And that's what this line sort of delineates here. All I was doing, if you had joined me from last week, I was just basically showing you just a simple movement in price from low to high in here. And again, just taking projections from low to high to down there. So very, very simple price movement. Now, looking for a setup this week. So here we go. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit to an hourly. So you can see the price action on Monday. Again, I don't want to see the zero line right here, right off the start of that fib that I created. I'll maybe put a price tag on that. If price starts cascading below the 114.75 level, whoops, just be careful, because it could be going lower, and my trade ideas of this thing running higher for the week could become fairly fleeting. So love it when it does that. Sorry guys, 1 second. 40.75. Okay. So that's sort of the line in the sand. If we see price start to dip lower and we start to run past this, then more than likely it's just going to make a run for it. And look at these, tweezer bottoms, rejection candles right in here. This little bit of price action right there, that's sort of a reversing pattern. And again, all it really did was just come in and just take the lows right out from under market price from last week right there. Dropped down, took the stops, rejected immediately. So what I'm looking at is for them to just come down briefly a couple of pips throughout London, gather up some support in here, and then start trading higher. And again, I think we're probably going to see price. It would be great if we could come all the way back up to the 79% retracement level, but I would even take a move up to the 72 as well too. Just depending on how long you guys stay in your trades for. If you're a bit of a short-term swing trader, you could always try getting along here on a move. As long as it doesn't break the 114.75 level, you could look at getting long, and I would probably be taking profit off at several levels up here. I'd be taking, as soon as it hit 30 pips, which is right about above this high here. So let's say we got long somewhere in here. I'd be taking profits above here, above here, above here, and then I'd have a little bit left on to see how much higher we want to get. But I wouldn't be squeezing every single ounce of the full trade up until the very last possible moment. I'd be definitely paying myself along the way. So just kind of keep that in mind. But I like what we see here so far. There's a lot of areas and a lot of avenues above the market price right now for them to run up and gather. And I'd like to see if they can do that. And we've had a nice downtrend, steady downtrend here for the past few days, few weeks. And I think there's still more to the downside. I believe we've got a lot more to go. And, you know, I could be wrong. What they could want to do is and again, this is why I say if 114.75 breaks and we're going to take out these two lows, and we're probably going to make a run down to 11400. This was actually where I was calling last week, and we really got just sort of a sideways price movement last week, and it's only because of NFPs last week. So you can see Fridays, Thursdays, Wednesdays, Tuesdays, Mondays trading, we came down, but we failed to go any lower from last Thursday, and Friday just basically did nothing. It went straight sideways. So hopefully you guys didn't trade last Friday, because this is typical, you know, NFP trading, price action right there. And then Monday so far, we've just taken out the stops underneath last Thursday and have rejected so far. So we'll see what happens. But ultimately I want to see this thing go lower. Don't get me wrong. Just long term, lower Euro USD. But I think short term, I'd like to see it do a little bit of a retracement and just kind of pick up some of these levels up here and then start to slide over. So that's sort of what I'd be looking for. So again, just a real quick trade idea there. If we see price start to slide down here, just watch this level and don't let it go any further than that. But if you see price start to fail in that area, it could be a good setup for a long. And again, make sure you're taking profits here and here, because I don't know how deep they're going to retrace it, if they do at all. But I would definitely be paying myself along here. And keep in mind, like, if you got to move from down here, even that current price level, up to just right above those equal highs, that's 100 pips. That's a great weekly haul right there. You guys could, if you got that, and that happened during Tuesday, Wednesday's trading, I mean, stop trading for the week, cash out, you guys are good. I mean, you don't need to worry about anything else. You know, you start putting week in, week out, after, you know, week after week of 100 pips every single week banked, you're going to be a very, very profitable trader in a very, very short period of time. It's when you get in there and you start thinking, well, maybe I can hold out for, maybe it'll go up to here, maybe it'll go to here, and then it just ends up reversing, coming back down, and, you know, you lose 70% of that 100 pips that you gained. Well, where are you then, right? So anyway, that's my thoughts on the euro. Moving over to the pound. This is an interesting market right here. Pretty much been doing the opposite of what the euro has been doing. So I'll just run out to a daily so you can see this. So here's a daily chart on the euro USD, and here's a daily chart on the pound dollar. You can see the difference, right? Had a much stronger drop on the euro USD and a less shallow retracement on the euro. You see that we were consolidating pretty much the end of last week and the start of this week, whereas the cable had a nice strong push lower and then a big rejection higher. And this was actually a pretty significant 2-day rejection, 2-3-day rejection. I mean, that was a 200 pip movement higher. So we're going to see what they want to do here. It's this right here, this candle right here. And again, this is why I was saying very interesting on Monday's candle on the US dollar. We ran price up and strongly rejected it. Very, very similar rejection, but opposite. And it came right back down and ran right off the old highs are in here. The high of this day from last, what was that, Wednesday? Yeah, and then the basically the close of Friday's trading, and big rejection. So very interesting. I'm thinking again they're probably going to run this thing a little bit higher. And I don't have a grandiose idea, unfortunately, on this guy here, just because it's not exactly doing, it's not really falling in step really with what the US dollar is doing. It's kind of on its own. And ultimately, again, we're probably going to push a little bit lower on this guy. Like there's lots of areas under here that price could still want to reach for. They stair-step that up very, very nicely, and so there's liquidity. They just got the liquidity under here, but there's liquidity under here, here, and here, obviously. I don't think we're going to get that deep, but I definitely like to see if they want to come and run this low right here. So we'll see how that pans out. I don't have a trade idea on this guy yet. And what I also wanted to just show you real quick here, if you bear with me for 1 second, I'm just going to bring up what's happening on the week here. So not a lot of high impact news events on Tuesday. We've got some pound MPC members speaking, and then we've got some Aussie news, and late in the day, very, very late in the day, 9:10 p.m. New York time, FOMC Williams speaking. And then Wednesday is kind of when all the fireworks are going to be happening on the pound. We've got GDP numbers, manufacturing numbers, another speaker talking. And then we've got some PPI numbers on the U.S. dollar and a whole smattering of other U.S. dollar news. Some very, very late in the day FOMC members speaking. So Wednesday, we're probably going to see a lot of volatility in the markets. I'm not necessarily going to want to get in front of the pound before this news comes out. You know, granted, there could be a great setup there. If it does happen, then, you know, I'll jump back on and I'll kind of give you the heads up that's happening. But I'm just going to elect, I think, keep my focus on the euro for Tuesday and Wednesday until this goes away, and then we'll see where the pound is situated after that. Because again, the pound is a little bit messy right now. I mean, technically, we hit a level here where we should be dropping, and I would have said, yeah, when this was a full-blown bearish candle on Monday, yeah, that was definitely going to be coming to true. But then look how it rejected there. So we're going to have to see what Tuesday's going to bring, and Wednesday ultimately. They could want to reach up and just scoop relatively equal highs right here. See this high here and this high here? They may want to just go up there and just pop above that quick and grab up any liquidity that anybody got, and off of this run down here, and then drop it. We'll have to see, but anyway, lots coming up for the pound news. So if I were you, either get your positions in now and hold out and do a big swing trade on it and have a wide stop, or just take it easy until after that news hits. If I were you. And then going into Thursday, we've got some more pound news, medium impact, some euro news, some CPI news for the U.S. dollar, and of course crude oil inventories on Thursday. And then we've got some medium impact news events on Friday, some more FOMC members speaking. So we should see some pretty good volatility for the week. It should be a good week of trading. But again, I would just maybe elect to just kind of sit on the sidelines on the pound just for this week and go from there. All right, let's get back at this here. Okay, so that's the pound. Euro GBP, look at the slide on the Euro GBP the past 2 weeks, just smashing down. Pretty amazing. And they ripped this thing up all of the start of the year, and just to make that high in late August, and then have just been on a steady slide ever since. And look at the start opening of October. Look at that. I mean, just big. I mean, that's almost this entire range just in the first 3 days of trading of October. Pretty incredible on Euro GBP. So you think they're trying to get priced in a hurry. And this is what I was calling. See, I said the lows under here, and then we're looking at the lows under here for them to come in and grab. That could be where they're heading. So if we do see that, that's why we are going to see, so obviously the front pair, and this is the euro, that's why we're going to see a heavier euro as opposed to the pound, and that's why the pound is kind of starting to just sort of doing its own thing here. Not necessarily that it's lending a lot of strength to it, but I think we're going to see a lot more heaviness in the euro pair, euro USD versus the pound USD. So just kind of keep that in mind. As long as we still see this. Now we could see this start to release a little bit and come back up and retrade off of these lows back in here. And if that's the case, then we'll see that sort of short-term rejection on the Euro USD, which is what I'm looking for. So I'll be looking for something kind of like this to take place. If we see that further rejection down here. But so far, we're kind of coming into a very, very heavily traded area in this. So we should see some kind of a bounce ensue at this location. So that's all I got to say about that. US CAD. Obviously, if the US dollar is going to be ripping higher, which I think we're probably going to see coming up here, we're probably going to see them try to challenge this high. We should be seeing the corresponding price action in the US CAD pair, obviously. And you can see we did see a big sell-off in September, and then since September ended, we hit the low, kind of that 1st of October, and then have just been steadily going up, straight up since. I called this gap being filled as soon as October 1st hit, price gap down. I said they're going to fill that, and that's exact. I mean, it took them 3 days to fill it. 1, 2, 3, boom, 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 and away they went, and they didn't stop from there. So very, very interesting. I think we're probably, and again, big price rejection right here, same as the US dollar. This is really the only thing that's been similar as of late on the US CAD. So I'm going to hold off on this pair. I think long term we're probably going to be wanting to try back and getting above these highs here. But a lot's got to happen before that takes place. And I'm just going to get rid of that. And I'm going to get rid of that. And I don't know. We could see this consolidate a little bit, to be honest with you. If they don't want to just start making those highs and the US dollar wants to come down a little bit, we could see this fall off just a wee bit. We'll have to see. I'm not going to call out any positions yet on this. I want to see this develop a little bit more because a lot can happen. Big rejection block right in here. Rejection candle at the 31.10 level. And I called this level, by the way, last week. Or so as soon as price smashed down here, I said they're going to retrace back up to the 130.10 level. And what was the high today? And you can go back to previous videos. Missed it by literally 1 pip. So that range is fulfilled. So they could come down. They could very, very easily come down now and rebalance a little bit lower before continuing higher. So that's kind of why I'm thinking US CAD could see a little indecision in the bias for the short term. So I kind of want to see that clear out a little bit. I do have an area down here, but I'll be honest with you, I don't think they're going to have enough juice to get down there. If we get I say that, but if 94 on dollar comes back down and gets hit again, that could be enough for the Canadian dollar to to get down to here, and then this range would be fulfilled. I would not expect them to come any. See the shaded area in here? I would not expect them to come any lower than there. I just expect them to come down, dip into it as that US dollar was slamming into that 94 level, and then we'll see a pretty big rejection. If that's in the cards, don't know. Again, we'll have to see, because this is heavily tied with the US dollar, and if the US dollar is bullish, we should see a bullish US CAD. So same thing with UJ. Again, nice bullish action throughout the month of September. And so far, October, we've fallen off slightly. We got above these highs right here and just failed to get above this one little high way back here in October of 2017. So again, we'll probably see price cool off a little bit. If you're a UJ trader and you're bullish, just hold off to those ideas for now. They may want to come back down and retest this small consolidation. Let you see this level in here. May want to come back down under there. For sure, I think they're probably going to come under this low rate here and maybe get into this low here. But price is pretty well traded up into this area here. So you can throw a quick fib up here. I'm not a big UJ trader, but if you guys do trade this pair at all, I'd definitely be looking for some form of support in the 72 to 79% level in here. And I wouldn't, and just watch price from there. Obviously, don't just get in long just because it hits the 72 or 79 level. Just watch price and see what the reaction is, and then get in on a confirmation. But that's a pretty bullish price move right there. So if we do see a nice dip in the US dollar, we should see something corresponding in the UJ pair. So keep that in mind. That's about all I'm going to say on those guys. And that's about it for major Forex pairs. I'm going to talk about crude oil real quickly here. And basically, all you need to know right now is there's a giant fire on the East Coast in the Irving facilities, and it's going to affect numbers going in, refining numbers going into the for gas prices and light crude going into the U.S. And of course, sanctions on Iran and U.S.-China trade wars and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They're finding every excuse they possibly can to run this market up. And I think that's what we're going to get. And look at the rejection. So I was looking for 72.70 to get hit on the downside. And look at the rejection. The low we got on was 73.04. So 73.05, call it. So I was off by 35 ticks. Unfortunately, I was looking for a little bit deeper. But so far, big rejection. And so far, we're starting off pretty bullish on the day. Really wanted to see this area taken out. I really did, guys. and so forth. And this is really, really bullish price action. So I'm kind of thinking if this red line here, 74.85, we'll call it. If that doesn't hold off price, then we're going to start seeing higher prices. I'd like to see, what I'd love to see though, is if they came up, bounced off that red line, and came back down and rebalanced. Sorry guys, my furnace just kicked in. At 74.25, that would be great, because that I would probably get in on a long at that position. But I want to see them get up into this area here first before I got long, just to see what they want to do. Hopefully they don't just go, you know, and just smash this thing up and not stop and let anyone get in. I'd like to kind of just see them come up to this, fail, come back down, rebalance, 74.25. Don't want to see them go much lower than that. I'd permit them to come down potentially to, I don't know, maybe the middle of this range right in here. See this, the tops of this small consolidation level in there? I wouldn't even say that deep. I'd say maybe the 74 would kind of be on the low side. You know, watch price, see as they come down in here, and and hold off until you see that happen. But so something kind of like this. Hopefully, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'll literally draw it out for you here, and then this. And I would expect them to run these highs here. I think, honestly, I think crude oil long term, we're probably going to see $80 crude oil in the near future. And it's just, where do you get in? You know, you don't want to get in when this thing's ripping higher, because that's late to the party, and you definitely don't want to trade with that style. You want to wait on a nice return, nice retracement, and we definitely got that on this swing move lower here from Thursday, Friday, and then Monday's trading. Throw a fib up, came down right down to that 79% retracement level again that I was talking about today. And to be honest with you, it was a holiday for me today, so I was not in front of the charts today. Had I seen that and that wick right there, I probably I wouldn't have got in on this candle here. I would have waited for a retracement and got in around here. I didn't do anything today, absolutely nothing. So I'm watching price till I just want to see if they want to kind of come in and do one more of those, basically exactly what they did right here. And see if we can't pick a long position up. Keep a tight stop. I would not want to see it go any lower than here, of course. And away you go, off to the races on crude oil. Again, I am not a licensed commodity broker, so if there is anyone from the CFTC here or CSA or anything like that, then again, I'm not a licensed broker. This is just my trade ideas, my thoughts, and not an invitation for you to place your live money on it. Obviously, trading has risks, and I hope you know that you need to do your research and due diligence before taking anybody's trade advice. So, just got to put that little plug in there for my own protection, a little CYA coverage. So, well, that's about it on crude oil. And again, if we lose this low here, so on the downside, if 74.25 comes in, I'll be looking for them to rebalance off at 72.70. And I really have a hard time. I mean, something major's got to happen for them to break through that 72.70 level and get down below this consolidation level, and that would be huge. Like, you know, someone just decided to unload like a 10 million barrels additional supply on the market out of the blue that they didn't anticipate on, or something like that. That's what would bring price down below here, but right now, again, like I say, there was a big refinery fire on the East Coast, and literally, product is going up in fire right now, big explosion, and so that's going to drive the price up, and obviously sanctions with Iran and everything else that I mentioned earlier. So it's all part and parcel to them driving the price up on crude oil, so you can be assured of that. Okay. That is crude. Oh, and I said I was going to just briefly talk here about this gold. How'd you like to be a gold trader right now? Tough market to be in. Dave trades this. He's the other guy that that calls out pairs and does analysis and live trading with you guys every week. He does the gold market. It's a tough one. And he does S&P, and he does S&P very, very well. So Dave comes on. If you guys are just joining us, Dave trades S&P and gold every Wednesday, Friday. of the week and put signals out in our members group at f45trading.com. So if you want to get those signals or his ideas, just jump on and check us out at our website there. Okay, real quick, copper. I'm looking for a reversal on copper, and I'm looking for price to start screaming higher, but not yet. I think I would really like to see them rebalance price down at this 265 level and then start to run higher. But so far, nice price action in here. Failed to take out these lows, and they're really, look what they're doing right in here. Check this out. Look what they're doing. Really putting those, building in that sentiment above the market right here. So everybody's thinking, this is resistance. This is resistance. Price isn't going higher. Look, it came 1, 2, 3, 4 times. That's resistance up there. Price will not go any higher than that. And all they're going to come down, and all they're going to do is sit there. They could keep doing that for another month. I don't know, but I can promise you, very soon they're going to come and smash through these areas right in here. And I want to make sure that I'm positioned correctly for them to do that. And I'd like to see if they want to come down here. So far, this little area right in here has been holding off price. And just put a price tag on that. Call it 275, whatever it is. I'm not going to get too accurate. 265. Just want to remember that number. That's fine too. So far, that level right here is holding price off, but I want to see if they have that. They really seem heavy in here, like that they've been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times now. They've been trying to take out that high. They haven't done it. They've come back down and rebalanced it one more time down lower. I want to see if they have any juice in this week here to get down one more time, and then I'll be looking for them to rebalance under here. Again, this red line is the no-go line. If you see price come down past this line right here, do not be buying any of this because we're going to sweep down underneath this low, underneath these lows here, and the carnage could continue. So just keep that one in mind. We could be searching for lower lows under here if that red line gets broken. So that's it for copper. And real quickly, I'm not going to go through any more of these commodities. Bitcoin. I want to talk about Bitcoin real quick. If there are any holders out there, you are literally growing a beard. You got patience on this thing. Because, wow, I mean, look at the consolidation on this. It's been doing it all year long. It's not been doing anything. Going straight sideways. And I believe that is because they are just waiting out the market. They're going to wait them out, and I think they're gonna drop it. I got a lot of levels underneath the markets right here, underneath the price, and I think they're going to be stretching down for these levels under here. So just keep that in mind. I think they're not done to the downside on this guy yet here. So. But the big talk right now is actually all marijuana stocks. So there's going to be a whole lot happening, at least in my country anyway. Whole lot of happening because they are legalizing it here in about 11 days from now. So very interesting times. Sorry, 11 days. I didn't say that right. 9 days. No. 9 days from now. They are legalizing it. It's coming on the 17th of October on a Wednesday. And we are going to see some movement in our Canadian markets, let me tell you. So if you ever trade the Canadian markets, take a look at a couple of marijuana stocks because you might be pleasantly surprised. But anyway, back to Bitcoin right here. I don't know why I was talking about that. You can see they came in, they closed this gap in on this run up, small gap in here that they closed recently, and they've been sitting straight sideways. So not much to talk to you about here. I'd like to see if they want to come back up into this level in here one more time, but I would expect them to just reverse it right back down. And they're building up a lot of positions underneath the market here, and I think they're going to come down, and I think they're going to smash it lower. So if you don't know what I'm talking about here, I think we're going to be coming down underneath here for Bitcoin, and maybe get even low down under here. And this is like 2,000 level, and it wouldn't surprise me though. It would not surprise me one bit. There's a tiny little gap right there that they may want to come down into. That's deep though, and that's a lot of pain for a lot of people who bought, especially for those people who bought up in here and are still holding it. Hopefully they got out a long time ago, but if you are and you're holding it, you could be in for a little bit more pain. But I don't think it's all bad news. I think very soon it's going to find a bottom. And when it does, I think it's going to rip. And so I'd like to be involved in that and get all over that, because I think that's going to be an even bigger move than what this was here. Because this right here, I believe, is all retail motivated. So this is, you know, the guy at your local grocery store begging your groceries saying, hey, did you hear about Bitcoin? No, what's that? Well, you should put all your money into it because this thing's going to the moon. And that's when all that crowd was in here buying, 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 buying. You know what this was written here? This was all of the big banks. This was all the central banks and everybody else who's got the money to trade with, who control the markets, who did not bother to get in down here, who said, that's high enough. We're going to short this thing and we're going to punish everybody in here. And they dropped it hard and fast, and they took everybody out, and I think they're going to keep dropping it lower because there's a lot of positions under here. It's still expensive. I mean, Bitcoin was, you know, was nothing, you know, 5 years ago. I mean, it was pennies. So right now it's technically still fairly expensive. I mean, if you're a bank and you want to put all your holdings, or not all of them obviously, but a big portion of your clients' holdings and your bank's money into Bitcoin, where would you do it? I mean, you know, if you miss this whole motive wave up in here, where are you going to do it? Are you going to do it, right? Let's just say, just for argument's sake, that we start right there, right? I mean, it's still at the, you know, it's still at 72% here. It could easily go down to that 79% retracement level that I was telling you, and even lower, right? I mean, they could want to go back much, much lower for a deeper discount to really pack on the longs in those areas. So anyway, needless to say, I'm not going to go on anymore about that. You understand what I'm saying? If you're a Bitcoin enthusiast, maybe take a position on the other side of the market on Bitcoin for the time being. I'm just saying. Ethereum and all those guys, it's the same thing. These guys actually had a bit of a deeper retrace, only because Bitcoin had so many holders, you know, back in here, and there's a lot propping it up. Whereas these markets are a little bit thinner, and whoops, Ethereum, you know, Ripple, Litecoin, you know, markets like those, they saw a little bit more degradation on it, a little bit more action to the downside. And I called all of this, by the way, when price was in here. You see this, and this. I called all of that and watched it go all the way down. And I think we're still gonna. I think we're probably gonna try to stretch, at least anyway, on Litecoin underneath this low right here. That's under $32. I think we could get see price go much, much lower on that. So, but again, I mean, it's got a bottom, and when it finds it, I think it's going to rebound with a vengeance, and that's going to be the money maker. So anyway, that's about all I got for you guys. I hope you got something out of that. If you got a question, I'll stick around here for 30 seconds here before I run off. And any Aussie traders out there? I was calling an idea on Aussie that didn't come to fruition, unfortunately. I was looking, this big run up right here, I saw this, and I was looking for a retrace, and I was kind of calling it these highs in here being retested and then getting long off of that. And that's why you wait and you sit and you watch price, and you don't just, because it hits this level, just get in and blindly hope to go long and take out these old highs. You got to watch price. And if you'd watch it, you would have seen them right on this candle right here. Whoops. Right on this candle. So I was looking for long ideas. I was looking for a reason to get long in this area. And as price came down, 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 and I always say, watch price in these areas. That's what I always say, and it's nothing new. If we're looking at getting long in this area, you have to watch price. And look what it did. It smashed into it right here, and then this candle didn't reject, did it? Right? It had a very, very, very shallow rejection in here, and then smashed back down. And that's obviously no bueno. You do not want to be trading and going long on that, because it's just going to keep cascading down. So anyway, that being said, Aussie dollar, if we do see that brief retracement on the US dollar, and if you're just joining us, I saw a couple new people jump in here just a few seconds ago. I'm looking for the US dollar to retrace slightly back down. So if we do see that retracement, then we could see the Aussie dollar also. No, that's Aussie NZD. There it is. we could see this start to run up, and I'd kind of like to see if it has enough steam to get up to the 71.60 level. I think that could be a pretty healthy target, pretty easy pickings for the Australian dollar. Not a whole ton of pips. I mean, that's where from current location, it's only about 70 pips. So nice healthy return if you can get that. But that's kind of what I've been looking for price to trade up to. And I wouldn't be expecting it to go any higher than that. And I don't think it's just going to be a straight shot up there. It might be. I mean, this was a straight shot down, but they're definitely going to rebalance this range in here. And that's a good target for them to want to run and stretch back up into. So that's a 4-hour chart that I'm on here, guys. So I can even just maybe help you out a little bit and drop down to a 15-minute. And this was the stop run right here. You can see this. It came down, created a low, and created a low, slightly traded off of it, smashed it back down real quick one more time. And this was Monday's trading, and then it traded off very, very sharply from there. And it actually did 30 pips on the day, 35 pips. Kind of a slow Monday for the Australian dollar. About 30 pips, 40 pips on the day. It's not a lot of pips there, but just looking at this, if we don't see this take out this high here, we could want to rebalance down into here one more time. Kind of like this area. Whoops. Kind of like this area here. Australian dollar. If we see price want to dip back down into the 70-80 level, that could be doable. Somewhere in around there. If it starts to scream underneath here and even try to challenge these guys, I wouldn't necessarily look at getting into it again. I don't think it's going to come all the way back down and retest this low yet. I think it needs to satisfy this price range above the market first. But with that being said, yeah, see if what kind of a retrace we get here. There's some Aussie news as well too happening. When is that Aussie news? I think that was on. Where are we here? Sorry, guys. I gotta update my Forex. Oh, I had 2 Forex pages up. Come on. Sorry, that was just dead air there for a second. Where are we here? Where did I see that Aussie news? Oh, here it is here. Tuesday. Nothing too serious. Late in the day as well too, but we could see a bit of a retracement on that here leading up to that news event there. So we'll kind of see how London transpires and kind of come back to that. But you can see here is a Canadian. Oh, it was a U.S. dollar. It was a U.S. bank holiday as well too. So there you go. And they still rip the markets on North America being off. So interesting. A lot of news events coming up next week too. Should be a pretty volatile news week next week as well. But Aussie, and there you go. They just took it there. So I'm going to move that idea. If they come back down to the 70-90 level, yeah, I wouldn't even say there. 70-85, 70-85 to 70-90, somewhere in around there. If they want to come back down, basically, if they do this, if they start running this high and come back down and want to rebalance somewhere down here and then run higher from there, that's sort of what I'd be looking at on the Australian dollar. Somewhere right in and around there. And yeah, I believe these areas, let me get rid of this guy here. It's no longer valid. But yeah, I believe see this consolidation level in here. I think those lows are going to get tagged, and I had that price tag. Where was it? Right there, 71.60. I think that's on the market. I think they're going to try and push for that. So watch for that guy there. And if this, and again, if this gray area right here, so if this area starts getting taken out, so 70, like if they want to come down to 70, 70 basically. I would just hold off on that if they want to get any lower than 77. And it's not that very many pips. I mean, it's literally 70-90 right now. That's 20 pips. But I wouldn't be buying right there. Just give it a little bit of time. Watch it come back down. See how deep they want to come back down. Look at maybe picking it up along in here. And then, you can put a very tight stop on that. and I wouldn't let it go down any lower than 70.70. If they want to go lower than 70.70, then they're going to try and run this guy out, and subsequently these lows in there. And I don't think I want to see that yet. I want to see them run for that higher level. So if they're going to run for that higher level, they should not need to go deeper than this gray area here. So, but I'd like to see if they want to retag up one more time back down here, potentially get in for a long. And Bob's your uncle. We'll be looking for 71.60. So. Anyway, I don't see any questions in the chat area. I am going to wrap up then. I've been on now for about 50 minutes or so, 45 minutes, 50 minutes. I think that's enough for one day. Gave you some ideas to work off of anyway for the week. I'll be back again Thursday. I might even pick up, well, Dave will be on tomorrow as well, too, during the New York Open on Wednesday, trading S&P and gold. So I'll tweet the link when that happens and shoot it out on Instagram and everywhere else, so like I always do. So you'll get the notification on that, and then I'll be back. If depending on how price is shaping up here, I might even do a New York session on Tuesday. We'll see how that goes. I'm not going to bank on that one, but it could be an opportunity there. So I'm not gonna totally rule it out. But if I see something, I have time, I'll jump on, and I'll shoot out some charts in the meantime, and then I'll be back for sure again on Thursday, London Open again for you guys, and we'll trade into Thursday, Friday, and away we go. So I hope you guys all have a great week of trading. Be safe again. Maybe stay away from the pound this week, just because it's not necessarily conducive to what the overall trend is doing. So just like I say, take it easy this week. So on this one here. So anyway, that's all I got to say. I appreciate your jumping in here, and again, if you haven't already, just click down here and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and give me a thumbs up, or give me a comment, or tell me what you guys think on here. If you guys like what I'm doing and you want to see some more of it, I'd appreciate that. Tell a friend, sort of build the word a little bit. I'm doing this for you guys. I don't charge you. And, in return, all you got to do is just, hit the thumbs up, or just give me a comment or two, or share it out, guys. I would really appreciate that. So, with that, I am going to escape, and I will catch up to you tomorrow. Thank you.